Hello, everyone, and welcome to the RV Inspection and Care podcast and video. I'm Dwayne. I'm a certified RV inspector, and today we're going to be talking about the best used Class C RV motorhome brands between the years 2010 to 2019. Now, Class C RVs are definitely very popular with the buying public. They're especially good for families because of all the really nice sleeping arrangements in them. So they're great for weekends and vacation adventures with the family. And the newer Class C RVs that are out there, well, they may just be too expensive for you right now. And if that's the case, well, then I recommend that you seriously consider getting a Class C that's older and more affordable, but still a good one. And this video, as I said earlier, will focus on the brands that were made during the years 2010 and 2019. The good news is you can find plenty of them on RV Trader right now, and they are starting in the $35,000 to $50,000 range, and that's much more affordable for a lot of folks. The thing that you need to remember if you're interested in Class C RVs is that they are the entry level for motorhomes, just like travel trailers in many cases are the entry level for towable RVs. So when I recommend brands for quality, it's kind of relative. You see, when an RV manufacturer builds Class C motorhomes, they're usually trying to make it as affordable as they possibly can. And when you do that, well, the quality may not be as high as other segments of the industry. So more expensive Class B RVs, B pluses, Super Cs, and Class As, well, they are often just built to a higher standard of quality in many ways. But that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with Class C RVs. The one thing that is the Achilles heel of the Class C RV, and has been for years, is the ride and handling. And that's because most of the Class C RVs you're going to find out there are built on a Ford chassis. And Ford has not changed the suspension in that chassis in any meaningful way for a very long time. So what you can get is sway as you go around corners, excessive sway. You can also get a harsh and bumpy ride and things along that line. Now, the good news is that all of that is fixable to a large degree. And I made a video about that, about more or less inexpensive ways to solve those issues. So if you're looking at Class C RVs, then I'll leave a link to that video in the description of this video, and I highly recommend you to look at it. But Class C RVs allow you to enjoy motorhome RVing for much less, and that's why they are so great for so many people. A lot of the popular brands people know about with Class C RVs, though, in my opinion, they just don't put out a very consistent quality product. So I'm not going to include them on my list. Let's go ahead, though, and let's get started talking about the brands that I can recommend between 2010 and 2019. And I'm going to give you a couple here in this video to start with. First of all, the brands I'm going to talk about are two brands that are kind of the same, and that's Winnebago / Itasca. Now, Winnebago is iconic in the motorhome industry. They've been building motorhomes since 1966, so I think they know what they are doing. In fact, in the minds of the buying public, very often when they think about a Class C RV, they just call them a Winnebago. Now, Winnebago owned Itasca, continues to as well. So the thing is that there really wasn't a whole lot of difference between what Winnebago put out and what Itasca put out. So they're pretty well similar to one another. Both are good choices in those years. So here are the models I recommend you look for with Winnebago in 2010 to 2019. And first of all, This is a really good one, the Mini Winnie. It's iconic in the industry. It's a great place to start in those years, but don't forget the Winnebago Aspect and the Cambria. Now, turning to Itasca, once again, Itasca has the Cambria certain years. Some years it was a Winnebago, some years it was an Itasca. There's also the Impulse to consider and the Spirit. So any of those models are good choices to begin with in your Class C search during those years. Now, Winnebago and Itasca are higher production RV builders, motorhome builders. If you want more quality in a Class C, honestly, you have to start looking at the lower production builders. And there's one that I'm going to recommend for you now, and that is Phoenix USA. They're a smaller manufacturer. They don't build a lot of them, but what they do build is pretty good quality. So during those years of 2010 to 2019, my recommendation is look for the Phoenix Cruiser. That's a great choice in those years. Now, don't expect to see near as many of them as you're going to find on the market with Winnebago and Itasca, but you can find them, and they're a good one to consider. You're also going to find that it's going to be more expensive too, but like I said, it's built better, and therefore it's worth more. Well, now, there are more brands that I can recommend for you, but I just can't put them all in a video. So I have a recommended brands list for used Class C RV motorhomes, and I put it in a guidebook, and you just need to download the guidebook and go through it. It will have a lot more brands and models to choose from, and that way you have a much wider choice. But I do recommend that you use that guidebook along with my RV used buying guide too, because it'll show you not only what brands to be looking for, but also how to buy the RV and make sure that it's a good one. So if you use those two guidebooks together, it's a really good choice, and you're most likely going to have a really good buying experience if you follow those directions. Now, the question is, can you get a good RV then from manufacturers that I'm not recommending on my list? Yes, you certainly can. The thing about the manufacturers on my list is that I feel they put out a more consistent quality product. The problem with high production RV builders is their consistency. One can go down the line and be built fairly well. The one behind it can be atrocious. And this happens a lot. So the brands that I recommend for you are the ones that are known for a more consistently good product coming out of the factory. But no matter what used RV you choose, always, as I always say, get it inspected by a certified RV inspector before you buy it. Now, older used RVs by that time period, you're not going to find a lot of factory issues and problems. Those have been worked out in the first 5 years or so usually. But what you will need to find out about is how well that RV has been maintained. As RV inspectors know, people are a lot better about buying RVs than they are necessarily about maintaining them once they have them. So you need to get that inspector in, find out how well that RV has been maintained and what the shape is that it's in at that point. Now, one more recommendation. When we're talking about motorhomes back in those years, I think it's a wise thing to get a fluid analysis on the drivetrain fluids and any fluids associated with a generator as well. Now, that will be very important because it will give you a good idea of what's going on in those components without having to tear the engine down and see what's going on. So if you get the inspection for the RV itself and you get the fluid analysis on the drivetrain, then you should have a very good picture of that RV. Once again, I made a video about fluid analysis. I'll put the link into the description of this video. I highly recommend that you watch it and then you'll be able to understand how to perform a fluid analysis. Well, I hope what I've shared with you in this video has been helpful. I hope what I've been able to accomplish is maybe steer you toward some brands that will be the better ones to choose, ones that you will be able to enjoy not only now, but for years to come in your RVing adventures. And that's it for now. Have safe and happy travels, my friends. Until next time.